This video explores the question of whether Jamaicans who cross the border and seek asylum in the U.S. can return to their home country. It also provides some information on the asylum process and the challenges faced by Jamaican asylum seekers. Many Jamaicans who flee their country due to persecution or fear of persecution may seek asylum in the United States. Asylum is a form of protection granted by the U.S. government to people who meet the definition of a refugee under U.S. law. To qualify for asylum, one must prove that they have suffered past persecution or have a well-founded fear of future persecution on account of their race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. There are three ways of obtaining asylum in the United States: the affirmative process, an asylum merits interview after a positive credible fear determination, or the defensive process. The affirmative process involves submitting an application for asylum to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, within 1 year of arrival in the U.S. The asylum merits interview is for people who were subject to expedited removal and found to have a credible fear of persecution or torture by USCIS or an immigration judge. The defensive process is for people who have been placed in removal proceedings before an immigration judge and claim asylum as a defense against deportation. How does the new Circumvention of Lawful Pathways final rule affect Jamaican asylum seekers? On May 11, 2023, DHS announced the Circumvention of Lawful Pathways final rule, which states that individuals who unlawfully enter the U.S. through its southwest land border or adjacent coastal borders are generally presumed to be ineligible for asylum, unless they can demonstrate an exception to the rule or rebut the presumption. Unaccompanied children are exempt from this presumption. This rule aims to discourage irregular migration and encourage lawful pathways to come to the U.S. However, it also poses a significant barrier for many Jamaican asylum seekers who cross the border without proper documentation or authorization. They may have valid reasons for not applying for protection in a third country they transited through, such as lack of access, safety concerns, or discrimination. They may also face difficulties in proving that they qualify for an exception or rebutting the presumption of ineligibility. Once granted asylum, a person can apply for permanent residence, a green card, after 1 year of being in the U.S. as an asylee. They can also petition for their spouse and unmarried children under 21 years of age to join them in the U.S. Asylees are eligible to work in the U.S. without restrictions and can travel abroad with permission from USCIS. However, traveling back to one's home country may jeopardize their asylum status and their ability to adjust to permanent residence. According to USCIS, returning to one's home country may be considered as evidence that they no longer have a well-founded fear of persecution or that the conditions in their country have changed significantly. This could result in the termination of their asylum status or the denial of their green card application. However, some Jamaican asylum seekers may have compelling reasons to return to Jamaica temporarily, such as visiting sick relatives, attending funerals, or resolving legal matters. In such cases, they must apply for advance parole, a travel document that allows them to re-enter the U.S. before leaving the U.S. They must also be prepared to explain why they need to return to Jamaica and how they will ensure their safety while there. Therefore, Jamaicans who cross the border and seek asylum in the USA should be very cautious about returning to Jamaica, as it could endanger their safety and their legal status in the U.S. What are some of the challenges and risks that Jamaican asylum seekers encounter along the way? Jamaican asylum seekers face many hardships and dangers on their journey to the U.S. Some of them include traveling long distances by land or sea, often with smugglers or traffickers who may exploit, abuse, or abandon them. Facing violence, extortion, kidnapping, robbery, or sexual assault by criminal groups or authorities in transit countries. Living in overcrowded and unsanitary conditions in shelters, camps, or detention centers along the border or inside the U.S. Experiencing discrimination, harassment, or hostility from locals or officials based on their nationality, ethnicity, accent, appearance, or sexual orientation. Suffering from physical and mental health problems due to stress, trauma, malnutrition, dehydration, exposure, or lack of medical care. being separated from their families or loved ones who may still be in danger in Jamaica or elsewhere. Facing uncertainty and delays in their legal process due to backlogs, changes in policies, or lack of representation. Some Jamaicans have found hope and opportunity in the U.S. after obtaining protection from persecution or harm. They have also contributed to their new communities and society through their skills and talents.